one sentence which describe our partnership.
The partnership has been successful from day one.
Hello, Arnold. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Hello, Shamek. Very happy to be here with you.
Yeah, that's great. I would like to touch a few points about our cooperation. So, how would you describe SAI services from your perspective? How Worldline uses SAI as a software services provider?
First of all, this collaboration started in 2017,
yes.
So it's a long partnership. And I have to say this collaboration is very strong in different angles. First of all, today we have 150 SAI employees dedicated to Worldline activities, which is a quite big number of people. It represents roughly 30% of external workforce. And on top of this, it's a very diverse collaboration, meaning that you are connected with different R&D centers within Western Europe,
right?
You know, with France, Belgium, Netherlands, Sweden, and also Germany. And of course, it's different cultures, it's different way of working. Even if we are trying to be in an agile way of working, you have some differences. And I think SAI is very good to adapt, you know, all these differences.
Do you remember how it started? You mentioned 2017, but do you remember 2 years before?
Actually, the first contact was even in 2015.
Right.
First contact with your sales department.
Yep.
In 2016, we had in mind to select a new nearshore partner because we need more capacity to sustain our growth. And so we started to make a localization study.
Yeah.
We know that we would like to go to Poland. And then we launched an RFQ process.
Mm-hmm.
SAI obviously was quite famous already, so we decided to put it in this process. And following this process, you have been selected.
Yep.
And how we took this decision, as far as I remember, there is 2 or 3 main criteria. The first one was really about your capacity of recruitment. At that time, we were impressed how many recruitment you did.
Yeah.
Today, it's much bigger, but
at
that time, it was already something. And we are impressed also on the professionalism, the way you answer to the RFQ.
Yeah.
So we feel confident that there is a strong management.
Right.
And that's key.
Was geographic proximity an important factor for you?
Yes, because we were definitely looking for a nearshore location.
Right.
To have, limited cultural gap, time difference, almost no time difference. When you work in Agile, you know, it's quite important. And also the fact that we could travel easily, both ways, for knowledge transfers, for instance. And I think Poland is very close, especially to Germany and to Netherlands, but even France, you know, it's
absolutely
very convenient to come. So definitely the nearshore was something we are looking for.
During the last couple of years of our cooperation, there was a pandemic, COVID-19. What were main challenges during that time?
Yes, indeed, the pandemic impacted our business, especially the payment industry has been strongly impacted. You know, each time there have been a lockdown, of course, the transaction volume decrease, and so we have to face this wave of decrease, and obviously it impacted our partnership. And what has been done, and I think it has been a great success, is how to overcome this transitory period, right? And to keep the collaboration still strong. Especially, we have no decrease of people at that time.
Indeed.
We did some cost reduction measures, especially on the working days.
Yeah.
And you took some action on this. And again, thank you for that, because it's not easy for you as well.
Yeah.
But we did, I think, a great job together. And after this pandemic, I was very proud that all the collaboration we set up 4 years ago, we're still here, and we are ready to restart the business in this. So it was very, of course, it's easy to say that afterwards, but it was really a great management parties, I think.
It's from your perspective and from Worldline's managers' perspective you work with, what are the measurable effects of our collaboration? Could you describe something tangible from your point of view?
It's a good question because when you do software development, it's not so obvious to really have a KPI to really see exactly the benefit. But for me, I will summarize like this: is that we work in time and material. We consider that the SIA employee as part of project management, especially with the agile way of working. So working in Poland with SIA or in France or in Sweden, for us, doesn't make difference. And I think this is what has been done successfully. So the main benefit is we have cost reduction, of course, but keeping the same efficiency and sometimes even better. And even on top of this, I think there is other added value. We have a more diverse workforce with different culture, with people who can bring also their idea, even on the architecture, on the way to develop. So SIA bring this on top of the cost.
That's cool.
Cost project.
Happy to hear that. What distinguishes Polish IT software engineering market?
Before selecting SIA, so we launched a localization study with a consulting company, PwC. And we set up some criteria for our business and our needs, in technical needs, let's say. And clearly, Poland has been selected because we thought, and that's what the survey showed, that there's a right balance between technical skills, talent available on the market, and the cost.
All right.
So it was really the best trade-off. So that's key, of course. And then when we start to work together, I also saw soft skills I didn't have in mind, which are very good for me and for the development of the partnership. Is Polish people usually, first, they speak well English. In Agile, again, it's very important. And also quite transparent to share the problems. Sometimes they dare to say things the customer doesn't want to hear. But it's key if you want to make progress. And so it's there is a very good level of discussion. And that's probably quite specific to Polish engineer.
All right, thank you. So what distinguishes SIA as a nearshoring partner?
The Polish market was a choice, and also SIA was a choice because it was a bet at the beginning, but we are quite impressed by all the certification, like best place to work, like even your processes well in place, and also your management. So the bet was to say, okay, with SIA, we'll be able to sustain our growth.
All right.
And what makes the difference? There are many, but the first one that came to my mind is you have now 16 locations in the country.
That's right.
16. At the beginning, it was not my idea. My idea was to work only in Gdansk, if you remember well.
Yes.
But then I say step by step, it's a great opportunity because as far as we have one project, one team for one project, we could use all this location. Sometimes it's better from a technology standpoint. Sometimes there is less pressure on attrition. And depending on the market condition at the moment we make the request, is also need to be taken into account. So that's very specific.
All right.
To SIA is we don't talk to one site, we talk to 16 sites.
This is really important because having 16 different sites, the catching area for skilled engineers is much wider.
Actually, that's a good point because what we want to do is, to continue to grow, but we are looking a partner able to tackle all type of technology. We have the common one, Java, .NET, Android, C++, but sometimes we are looking for niche one. And I have in mind Golang, for instance, or Scala. And of course, it's more in some cities, you can find more the skills than others. And what's very important from SIA is this capacity to address all type of needs for whatever, the region of Worldline.
How does Worldline utilize SIA one-stop shop offering? How do you use our one-stop shop offering?
We think if the partnership is diverse and there are many connections within the company, Worldline, the better it will be. Because again, Worldline is not, it's a company we grew by organic growth, but also we took over some company. We have 20 payment platform, so there is a complexity to address. So you cannot find a partner able to address only one type of technology or one type of culture. We are looking for a partner able to address this complexity.
That's cool. Were there any challenges or difficulties we were able to overcome together?
Like any other offshore partnership, we have to face challenges. It's not so easy to work in distance. I remember some. The first one I have in mind is attrition.
Right.
It depends on the market condition. I have also sometimes some performance issue on project. But each time, and I think that's very the key driver of the success, SIA is able to make a very good root cause analysis, fair analysis, also what is on your side, what is on our side, and you also quite frank to say it, which is key as well. And then each time we're able to find solution and to find which action plan need to be taken by SIA, which one by Worldline, follow the execution, very good communication on a regular basis, and we were able to overcome all these challenges.
If you could think of one phrase, one sentence which describe our partnership, what is it?
Not easy to in one sentence, but let's say I would say that the partnership has been successful from day one. The first project we launched, it was on IT. It works very well, and we were able all together, thanks to SIA, to scale without impacting the performance. So for me, that's the most important, meaning that we are able also to keep going this way.
What are our common goals for the future collaboration in a short, medium, and long term?
So 2023 has been a tough year due to inflation mainly, but it doesn't jeopardize the view we have since the beginning, which is to develop the partnership. And we see SIA as a partner able to support us in our growth. We know the payment industry is quite dynamic, so we see SIA supporting us, knowing that many collaboration exists already, so we can capitalize on this. So I'm very confident that we can keep going like this. Also, maybe create new collaboration in some different area. Maybe other acquisition will be made, so other platform. So I'm quite convinced that there will be plenty of opportunities, and now we are in the right position to follow this path.
Yeah, great to hear that. A lot of challenges, but also like common objectives for the future.
Yeah, I think it's the common objective is really to have this growth globally all together, and we still need to have this objective to be very in high tech as the best player, both for SIA and our side. So we'll be successful if we have attract the best talent and if we are able to develop the best payment platform. So it's really about excellence also in technical skills.
Is there any final thought you would like to share about our collaboration?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you to welcome me and Manuel here in Dansk.
Our pleasure.
And my final thought is about a relationship between, the developer, all developers with the team, again, in France, in Belgium, in Sweden, Germany. They are very good. And also at our level as well. And it's very important. We need a very good relationship with you, with Emile, with Radek, Grzegorz in the past.
Right.
And for me, that's key also for the success.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci. Thank you.